Good evening. I'm Heather Welser, and welcome to Rowan Speaks.
And I'm Megan Tanner. Today, we bring you comprehensive coverage of how our Rowan community feels about the 2024 election, a pivotal moment for our nation.
This election has seen increased levels of voter engagement, with millions of Americans casting their ballots early. Let's start by hearing from multiple individuals about their participation in the election.
This year's election will be many students' first time voting. Here at Rowan, we have many opportunities for students to get registered. Today at Robinson Circle, the Student Athlete Advisory Committee is looking to get students in the game of voting.
There have been growing concerns about the security of the voting process. We asked students and faculty their opinions on the current voting methods and how it's changed.
I think there's more options now, so I can't say whether it's better or worse. I think regardless of how the government may be changing the process or the states are, we have to do it one way or the other, whether that's mail-in or early or just voting on November 5th.
They got the mail-in ballots now. I thought that was only COVID, but apparently you still have them. So I think that changed.
Do you think the current voting process is better or worse than in the past?
Probably worse. I feel like they cheated last election. There's a lot of rumors going around about that.
So do you feel that our current voting system is reliable?
No, I do not. I believe in paper voting, actually. Online voting is not reliable. I think there's a lot of ways to get around that. And I also feel like doing it the paper route, the old school route, is the better alternative than the new school way.
For the first 50 years of American elections, people actually went to a courthouse and were required to say who they were voting for out loud in front of a judge. This was known as viva voce and was the proper way to vote throughout the early 19th century, with Kentucky keeping it as their primary voting method up to 1891.
Yes, bring that back. Old school method. There's nothing wrong with old school methods. I think old school methods have always worked, and I think the basic fundamentals is what we need to get back to, so yes.
During this time, however, candidates were allowed to campaign at the polling places, creating loud and unruly atmospheres. This begs the question, should candidates be allowed to campaign at the polls today?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's freedom of speech.
Of course, why not? You should always be able to voice your opinion. It's the U.S. of A.
The first voting machine was invented in the late 19th century and was used in elections from 1910 to 1980. These machines were very large, expensive, and clunky. There were over 200 levers on the surface with a complex mechanism in the back. Many voters, however, felt secure in these machines because of their physicality, but what they didn't know is that even the smallest nick or missing tooth in a gear could cause miscounts, which were rarely caught. The first punch card voting system came out in the 60s. These machines produced instantaneous results, and the votes could be counted by computer. However, many issues surfaced of holes not being punched all the way or only halfway. This was very apparent in Florida during the 2000 presidential election, which forced officials to go through each vote by hand. With all of our advanced technology today, we asked voters how they feel about the reliability of physical voting machines.
Do you think that physical voting is more reliable than digital?
Yes, and I solely say that because technology is technology. It can mess up. And I'm not a computer science major, so I can't say the technical things, but physical is always better in my opinion, and I will be voting on November 5th in person.
Absolutely. Because I think digital, you can change stuff, manufacture stuff that's maybe not real, not maybe misconstrued. So I think doing it this way is the right way to do it.
Of course. I think every person that votes should have their ID there, like to prove you're a citizen. It should be it should be documented that you're there and like on camera to prove that you were there.
In this 2024 election, there are many different ways to vote. You can vote early between October 26th and November 3rd, vote by mail, or vote in person on November 5th at your local polling place. Today, Scantron voting is the most popular way to vote, after many people have become concerned with digital hacking on touchscreen voting machines. We asked our Rowan community on what voting method they feel most secure with.
I voted 3 times in my lifetime, and I believe every time I will be voting in the future will be in person. Again, I'm always a physical person. If I want to speak to a student, I want to speak to them in person, just because in the face-to-face interaction. So when you're going in person to vote, I think you have a good feeling when you leave. You get the sticker. When you are voting digital, you're not really getting that satisfactory feeling, in my opinion.
In person, on paper, like writing on paper, I think.
Mail-in ballots. Yeah, I think mail-in ballots, honestly. Yes, they can, and I understand what people are going to say. Oh, you can change the mail-in ballot process. I think doing that, it's reliable, it's safe, and it's convenient for a lot of people.
Well, there you have it, folks. Real opinions from the American people. Make sure you go out there and vote on November 5th. This is Brooke McGuigan signing off.
With new measures in place, voter turnout has reached high levels. And let's not forget the dedication of election officials and volunteers has been remarkable, ensuring a smooth and secure voting experience for everyone. Their hard work has been essential in maintaining integrity of our democratic process.
Now turning our attention to the local political landscape, we focus on Adam Wingate, who has had a significant influence in Harrison Township.
Here at Bonesaw Brewery, located in Glassboro, New Jersey, a fundraising event for the Harrison Township Republican Party took place. We had the chance to talk with one of the candidates present here today, Adam Wingate.
I got involved at a young age. I saw as a time and opportunity that I could give back to my community. This goes back to my legacy with my family. My grandfather was the first chief of police of the Harrison Township Police Department. So it's kind of always something I've known as for my family to always give back to the community. We were able to accomplish several things by my time on committee. I would say the one that stands out the most to me was the during the EF3 tornado back in 2021 was the recommendation I made that the families that were displaced from their homes for a length of time that didn't have to pay any property taxes on their homes at that point until they were brought back in and a CO was given to them. It was enough on them and a tough process for them to where, you know, any aid we could do, and as a committee, that was the biggest aspect and the biggest relief we could give to somebody is if we could help them with that, you know, it really uplifted their spirits and helped them out.
Adam also shares his priorities as being the chair of the Gloucester County Republicans.
The first priority was unifying the party. Over the last couple election cycles, there was definitely division within the party. You know, no house can be divided. Outside that, it's given the local municipalities, you know, more support and funding to get their message out and start winning those local races.
Adam also has a message for young people who might be considering getting involved.
First and foremost, get out and vote. Second of all, you can sit at home, you can complain, you can see the changes that you want to see get done or not get done. But my best suggestion is volunteer for something. Come out. You don't even have to be an elected official. There's different programs in every township. Be part of the solution.
For more information about voting, visit vote.org. This has been John Schwab, and thank you for joining us at the Bonesaw Brewery.
Adam's commitment to our community has made an impact. As we continue to follow his career, it will be interesting to see how his influence shapes our local policies.
It's always inspiring to see leaders who are so deeply invested in the well-being of our community. Now, shifting gears to a more personal story that many of our viewers can relate to.
In the current economic climate, many families are finding it increasingly difficult to afford housing. Rising costs and economic uncertainty have put a strain on countless households.
In our next segment, we'll hear from a local student whose family is facing these very challenges. Their story sheds light on a real-life impact of today's economic conditions and the struggles that many are enduring. Let's see how they're navigating through this tough market.
Marco, class of 2026, and yes, I am a first-time voter. I moved here in 2018, so about 6.5 years now. I lived down by Mays Landing, which is in Atlantic County, and then I moved up here to Sewell. Originally, when we moved here, we decided to rent the plan was originally just like a year or two, just to get to the area, get into the schools, and move into a house eventually. But unfortunately that hasn't happened, and we're at the same spot we're at since we moved here.
How do you feel about the state of your current
home? We're not a fan, just because it's poorly managed by the people we rent from, and we have a lot of trouble getting a hold of them when things go wrong. I think a lot of what goes on in the housing market right now is cheaply done services and cheaply made houses, but still upcharging the price. So while they upcharge our rent, they're still just not reciprocating the things that we need. I think there's not enough regulations for homeowners or renters with their landlords or who they bought their house from. It's tough to get a hold of them, so they can just ignore us and not take care of things. It's tough because it went against our plan. We were really just trying to get in and get out of the house we're at now, and we just haven't been able to get out because things are just too expensive and you just can't get away from it. You know, we moved because things were pretty cheap, and then things just started to get expensive and unaffordable for us, you know, cost of living. Besides, housing went up, and there's not enough on the market right now. I know there's like lines for open houses, which is just crazy, and it's especially crazy because even though they're as expensive as they are, there's still a lot of people trying to buy houses right now. Even if something does go on the market, it's usually bought within a week. I know by us right now, they've just built a house and it's not even done yet, and it's already been bought by people who are planning to move in. So we didn't even really get a chance.
What was the lowest price that you've seen so far when looking?
For something we could actually live in with like 3 bedrooms and a bath, at least probably $300,000. A lot of people have just been buying houses to flip them. Another house by me just got bought. They flipped it within the year, probably upped it by $100,000. It's not a big house. It's not super nice. Everybody wants to make money, but at a certain point, you do have to realize that like when you contribute to the prices going up, that's part of why they're going up, is because people are just putting a high ticket on them to sell them and make their own money.
So how do you feel about illegal immigrants possibly being eligible for home loans?
I'm not a fan because, you know, it's hard enough to get a house right now as somebody who lives in the country, is born in the country, whose grandparents were born in the country. You know, it's already tough enough. So seeing that happen it's not fun for us.
Do you think that like college students should be angry right now?
I think so. I know I am. You know, I only got a couple years left before I'm done college, before I'm moving out, and I know things are too expensive than what I'm able to pay right now. I would say if they're worried about their own future, they should definitely make the choice that benefits their own future. However, voting for somebody that is pretty much guaranteed to bring the prices down would be beneficial for everybody. I really want to go like straight into a house. When I'm older, I don't want to go into like an apartment or like anything like that. I really just want to go straight into a house and like get my money's worth when I want to sell it. The last election, I'd be lying if I said COVID didn't play a part into the prices going up, but now it's 4 years later. I'm hoping they come down in the next 4 years, definitely. Overall, I think that the prices of things are definitely too expensive, and housing especially is a big issue, you know, with population growing all the time and college kids wanting to move out and buy their own place. You know, prices should definitely come down for them to be able to do that.
Vincent's family's struggle to secure housing in today's challenging economic climate is a story that resonates with many. It's a stark reminder of the real impact economic conditions have on our community.
It is crucial to share these personal stories to understand the broader issues at play.
Now turning to another pressing issue, we focus on the challenges faced by college students. With the job market being as tough as it is, many are finding themselves unemployed despite their qualifications.
In our next segment, we'll be speaking with Trish Gillen, a student who is navigating the difficulties of finding employment in this competitive landscape. Her experience highlights the struggles and resilience of today's young professionals.
I'm Trish Gillen. I'm 20. I'm a junior at Rowan University, and I am a first-time voter.
Explain any employment experience you have ever had.
I've been a server, host, and expo at Charlie Brown's Steakhouse in Scotch Plains, New Jersey, in Woodbury, and a camp counselor as well as a lacrosse coach.
Are you currently employed, and if yes, where?
I currently am not employed.
So how long have you been without a job?
Since August.
Would you recommend being unemployed to someone who's in college?
I would say if you are able to balance the schedule that a work, that a job demands, as well as your academics, then go for it. However, if you're really like lagging in academics or you're struggling in an area of that and you know you're not very good with time management, I would say don't get a job. But if you feel like you need to get a job, then try it out.
And what does your typical schedule look like?
Typically Monday through Friday, I'm getting up at 7. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have lift at 8 a.m. till 9. Monday and Wednesday, I have class right after lift, and then when we're in fall ball, I do have practice after, but fall ball's over with, so no more practice. But I have night classes Monday and Wednesday night, so those are double blocks from 6:30 to 9:15.
What sport do you play here at Rowan?
I play lacrosse.
And now with lacrosse over, are you looking for a job?
With lacrosse over, I'm not looking for a job. My classes require a lot of work outside of the classroom, so I'm going to take the extra time to work on my studies. I do not plan to get a job in college. I had one in the fall of 2023, and it was just a lot trying to balance school, academics, athletics, and my job in general. So I will not be able to do that again.
Have you ever balanced working with college?
I have in the fall of 2023, so last fall semester, and it was a lot. I worked Friday nights and all day Sunday, and it was a lot to handle on top of my academics, as I usually take Sunday to do a lot of my work. And balancing that job well with lacrosse was very challenging. So I do not plan to get a job in college. I had one in the fall of 2023, and it was just a lot trying to balance school, academics, athletics, and my job in general. So I will not be able to do that.
Do you keep good track of your money?
I try to keep track of my money. I look at my bank account statements and, I just keep an eye on what I'm spending, but I don't necessarily have a lot. Take a day out of the month or at the end of the week to go through all of my expenses. I would say I have average spending habits. I have to go to the grocery store every week and spend money on necessities, but I do like to splurge on some Dunkin' or ice cream or, piece of clothing every once in a while.
What methods do you use to make sure you don't spend a lot?
Well, like I said before, I just try to keep an eye on my expenses throughout the week and monthly. But my mother, she has control of my savings account. So I think having her in charge of that really just helps me not spend as much money or spend as much money on, silly things that I don't necessarily need, as well as be able to control the income I have coming in, such as, sometimes she gives me small allowances, or if I get some stuff for my birthday from family members or stuff like that.
Where do you like to go shopping?
Well, I usually go to Lidl for my grocery shopping, as well as ShopRite. And
is there a reason you choose Lidl for your bigger grocery list than ShopRite?
Yeah, so Lidl actually offers cheaper prices. I wouldn't say the quality is necessarily better than ShopRite, but it's cheaper, and that's the sacrifice I'm willing to make to be able to have be able to spend less and get more.
And you've talked about being a student teacher. What is your major?
So I am a history education major with 2 certificates in sports psych and 1 in mental, emotional, and social well-being.
So what do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a high school history teacher.
And there's talk of teachers not making the best money. Does that make you worried?
Yeah, absolutely. But kind of going into this career, you kind of accept that we're not going to be making a lot of money, and it's more about the outcome of what you're giving your students, educating your students on, rather than the kind of pay you're getting.
So you're looking forward to being a teacher?
Absolutely.
Have you been keeping up with the election?
I have been keeping up with the election. I've always just taken a interest in elections and politics, so as a first-time voter, I definitely was keeping a close eye on the election.
Does the election make you worried about your current financial situation?
I would say yeah. Every president that comes into office has different economic policies that influence, the economy and the average American, and having a change in political party or president can be scary for a lot of Americans, but I think if we take it day by day, it would be okay.
These days, it's crucial to keep these stories in mind, especially as we approach the election. Voter engagement can bring attention to the issues that matter most to our community.
The decisions made by our elected officials have profound impact on issues like employment, education, and economic support.
Engaging in the electoral process is one of the most effective ways to advocate for the changes you want to see. Now, let's listen to our fellow Americans and hear their reactions to the election results.
Frank?
My name is Alex.
My name is Steve.
Hello, my name is Stella.
What has changed since I first voted? Just the economy, society as a whole, the way people interact with each other.
The very first time I voted, it was on a little machine with a little puncher, and it was a card that had everyone's name on it, and it punched a hole in the card and turned it in that way.
Prices have gone up a lot since I first voted.
When I first voted, regardless of which candidate won the presidential election, it was almost seamless that both parties got along most of the time to come together and pass bills and legislation for the betterment of the American people. And it was a whole different world we lived in then.
This year I voted in person, like I always do, but for the first time ever, I voted early and took care of it probably about a week before the election.
I did mail-in.
This year I voted in person.
This year I voted in person.
My thoughts on the outcome of the election were I didn't think it was going to be such a landslide, but it was.
I was very hopeful for the future, that I was hoping, things have to change.
It is what it is. I mean, it's going to be another 4 years.
I was extremely pleased with the outcome of the election. Things have not been going right for a very long time, and it's time to get back to where we need to be.
I think the next 4 years may be better than the last 4 years, at least by a little bit.
Very optimistic that, we can all try to unite instead of this divisiveness in this country, and hopefully things will get better. Because I feel like the last 4 years were terrible that we lived through, and I don't know how we made it. And I just feel our backs are against the wall, that I just feel like now, there's no place but up.
I think they're going to be amazing. Definitely going to be better than the last 4 years. Not only federally, but we need to also get it corrected in the state as well. And then hopefully we can take care of that and get things on the right track rolling.
Probably like the past 4 years. It's going to be just as bad when it comes to interaction with people.
I think foreign policy will affect me the most because I'm a young man and I could get drafted if we go to war with another country.
Probably abortion. The possibility of an abortion ban. Everyone has the right to their own choices.
I think the taxes, I think Trump's new tax policy, the tariffs are going to work out well. Many people don't understand how they're going to work, but it is designed to bring companies back into the country to build their things here. That is the whole purpose of the tariffs. And it's going to bring costs or prices down for everybody. And I think when cutting the government spending is going to reduce our taxes immensely.
I guess trying to control the inflation, the prices at the grocery store, the prices at the pump, prices of utilities. American people just can't afford to live like this anymore, so something's got to change, and hopefully for the better.
Well, there you have it, everyone. The U.S. has spoken, and with a new president, some are hopeful and some are disappointed. And that being said, we covered a handful of other topics today, including issues with employment, housing issues, voter history, and much more. And I honestly think it's great to hear different opinions on the same topic because it can really open up for important discussions.
Agreed, Heather. I think a lot of important topics were covered, and I think it's important to keep these in mind. With that being said, we'd like to thank everyone we've spoken to, like Adam, Vincent, Trish, and many more. And thank you for the crew for all the hard work they put in, and thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time for more discussions on issues that impact our lives.